Am I the a-hole for disowning my family and saying my father is dead to me? This might get long, but I need to get it out of my system because I feel like the only way for anyone to understand my reaction is to hear the whole thing. I'm 22F and I have 3 siblings from my father's side, 2 brothers and 1 sister, who's 35 now. Despite the big age difference, my sister and I always had a really good relationship when I was younger. She was the sibling I felt closest to, the one who'd take me out when I was little, braid my hair, bring me small gifts, and tell me about her life. We'd spend hours talking about random things, laughing, and I thought that bond was unshakable. Even after she moved away when I was in my teens, we still kept in touch over the phone, and even though it wasn't as often, I still felt like she was in my corner. I truly believed she would always be there for me if I needed her. My relationship with my father, though, was complicated from the very start. I was what people call a late child. My parents had me much later in life, and from everything I've been told, they had this perfect vision in their heads of what I would be, a healthy little girl they could show off to family and friends, almost like a trophy. But I wasn't born the way they imagined. I was born with disabilities. My legs don't work properly, I have spinal damage, I can't carry heavy things, and I can't walk long distances without pain. Instead of seeing me as a person with my own worth, my father seemed to view me as a disappointment right from the start. It was like I had failed some unspoken expectation before I could even talk. As I grew older, my personality took shape. I learned to have my own boundaries, my own opinions, and I wasn't afraid to voice them. That was enough for my father to resent me. He has this belief that he's always right, no matter what, and if you disagree with him, you're automatically wrong, disrespectful, and against him. My mother, in all of this, was mostly passive. Sometimes she would be on his side, telling me I should just keep quiet, that I brought things on myself. Only rarely would she step in to stop things when they got really bad. When I was 15, things escalated. Arguments turned physical. He started using his strength against me in different ways, and it terrified me. My mother would usually just watch or yell at me for starting it by talking back. On the rare occasions she tried to stop him, it was only because things had gotten truly out of control. I learned pretty quickly that in this house, my father's word was law, and there was no point trying to win. When I was 16, I overheard my parents talking one night, and my father said that the second I turned 18, I was going to leave school and start working full-time. No choice, no discussion. At the time, I just nodded along and kept quiet because I didn't think there was any point arguing. But when I was 17, I changed schools and something in me reignited. I started to enjoy learning again. I started thinking maybe, just maybe, I could go to college or at least finish school and find a job I actually liked. My father saw this as defiance. He became furious, and the punishments got worse. He started restricting food, telling me I wasn't allowed to eat what they bought unless there were leftovers from their own meals. I wasn't allowed to use the lights or the heater in my room. He would threaten to kick me out constantly. Every interaction felt like walking on broken glass. Then, just after my 18th birthday, he was diagnosed with heart disease. He immediately quit his job and never went back to work. He spent his days smoking, playing games on his PC, and expecting my mother to do everything. And somehow, even with his health problems, his temper toward me never softened. In the middle of all this, I reached out to my sister, the one I'd always trusted. I told her everything, how I was treated, the restrictions, the constant threats. I begged her for help. I didn't even mean moving in with her necessarily. I just needed someone to take my side, to tell me I wasn't crazy. She gave me nothing. She said my father was sick and tired, and that I must be misunderstanding things. She said my parents just wanted to help me stand on my own legs and that all I needed to do was sit with them, talk it out calmly, and it would be fine. She wished me good luck and hung up. I can't even describe the emptiness I felt in that moment. I never called her again after that. The next year was hell. My mental health tanked. I ended up dropping out of school and working whatever low-paying jobs I could find, even ones that made my physical condition worse. I barely had enough to keep food in my stomach. I felt trapped. But last year, something finally changed. I got a better job. For the first time, I was able to start saving up and I began planning my move out. I felt like I could finally see the light at the end of the tunnel. Then a few months ago, my mother and I were talking to a family friend I hadn't seen in years. She asked how I was and I gave the polite, "I'm doing okay" answer and tried to walk away. But she kept asking questions about my work, my life, and then, eventually about my father. She said she knew we had conflicts but didn't know the details. Without thinking, I said, "I don't have a father anymore." She looked shocked and immediately asked if he had passed away. I didn't correct her. I just repeated, I don't have a father, and started to walk away. Then she asked about my siblings and I told her, I don't have any of those either. Later that day, my phone started blowing up. It was my mother, furious. She said the woman thought my father was dead and had been offering her condolences, and that I had humiliated her by saying something like that. She told me I needed to apologize immediately because the woman was really disappointed in me. She called me names, told me I was cruel, and that I had no right to say those things. I told her I wasn't apologizing, and she hung up on me. It's been a while since it happened, but I still think about it. In my mind, my father is dead to me. So are my siblings. There's no relationship, no trust, no love left. But part of me wonders if I should have just kept my mouth shut to avoid this drama. I didn't mean to make anyone think my father had literally died, but I guess I also didn't feel the need to clarify, because to me, in every way that matters, he's gone. I just can't figure out if that makes me an a-hole or not.